Japanese really love their animal and mythology girls. There's like, what, 3-4 anime about demi-humans, if not more, this season? Well, not that I'm overly surprised. Humans have this weird fascination with creatures that look like a blend of themselves and animals since time immemorial. A fascination that I can't for the life of me understand, mostly because back in my times we used to hunt these creatures akin to pest control, yelling something like MOTHERFUCK! in whatever language my employers use. Those were fun days. But I digress. Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid is one of the 2 anime of this season that my employers described as Konosuba wannabes, and considering that watching old people playing chess is more enjoyable than Konosuba, I dreaded the worst when I started watching it. And was pleasantly surprised. The story here is as simple as it gets. A typical office programmer with a severe case of maid fetish named Kobayashi, and yes, this is a girl, in a drunk stupor finds a dragon, and after somehow saving it, this dragon named Toru falls in love with her and decides to be Kobayashi's maid, hence the name and the entire premise of the show. As the show progresses, the cast of dragons becomes bigger and we get to see how these foreign immigrants adapt in a typical modern Japan. As I said, simple enough. The strongest point of this anime is its characters that are generally easy to identify both by their looks and their personalities. The protagonist is especially good, as unlike most protagonists in similar stories, she doesn't act like a whiny little cunt, and in fact she's one of the most believably written characters in this season so far, as not only she acts like an actual programmer, but she's also ultimately a reliant parent figure not only for the dragons, but also her co-workers in the firm. The dragons are also decently written, as not only the show subtly or directly explains their every single quirk, but the dragons also act accordingly to their popular mythological description and sometimes get ridiculed by others for that, although considering the author's pedigree it shouldn't be this surprising, honestly. Music and graphics are for the most part okay, but nothing worth noting or mentioning, with a decent opening that I found myself skipping less than that of Yojo Senki and even humming along, especially when I'm sleepy, and no fucking CGI, at least at a glance, and that's already a plus from me, god damn it. However, this anime suffers from the same problem that Konosuba 2 suffers, and that the jokes, while funnier than those from Konosuba, sooner or later begin to repeat, and the viewer will grow tired of them, especially if he binge-watches it. Besides Kobayashi, the rest of the human cast, while also decently written, quickly turn into a walking gag that grows old very fast, especially when the joke can be summed up in one picture. This is especially obvious in the later parts of the show, like for example the little match girl episode that I deliberately skipped large parts of, and not only have gotten the overall moral, but also accurately predicted how it actually went. This is effectively the curse of such shows. If they are bad, they will be accused in pandering, but if they are good, then they will be quickly glossed over because, well, what else can you say about them? The biggest problem this monster girl genre has, at least at time of this recording, is that it is primarily designed with a certain demographic in mind, and that demographic usually thinks with whatever it is in their loin area, if things at all. As a result, most of the titles that are coming today are received at best with a resigned indifference, at worst with active hostility. And not that this position is unjustified, as most of these works do not incorporate any of the major cultural and physiological differences these monster girls will have compared to your average Japanese person, making them follow rules of a certain archetype instead, and as a result making them look seemingly shallow. You can show as many Sues as you like, that doesn't change the fact that in her place there could be a girl with Down syndrome and nothing would change significantly. The same thing you can say about, well, any one of the girls in question. What I personally liked in the Dragon Maid is that the dragons there, even in their human forms, act not only believable, not hiding the fact that should they wish so they could decimate the city in a blink of an eye, they also act like foreigners with their own view on things dictated by their past experiences, age, or worldview in general, while at the same time not acting foreign enough that they look outlandish to people. Is Dragon Maid any good? Is Dragon Maid better than Konosuba 2? Entirely up to you to decide, but I'll say this. Comparing it to Konosuba is foolish at best, as the only thing they have in common is their fantasy themes, and even then Konosuba is more action-orientated than Dragon Maid. If you want to see something light, fuzzy, and down-to-earth, then I suggest you watch Dragon Maid. If you want to see something light, but at the same time more slapstick and action-y, then Konosuba is the better choice. Personally, I liked Dragon Maid more, because at the very least I didn't want to neither kill or kick any of the characters, and that means only one thing. That some fuckhead ate Rasolnik somewhere in this facility, and when I'll find that son of a bitch, that Russian soup will go so far up his anus that...